Sure. Thanks again for joining. Had a very productive bye week. Gave us the much-needed break and rest to get some guys healthy, get some guys back. Also a chance for us to work on the fundamental things that, as we did our mid-season self-scout, some things that we needed to get cleaned up, and so it allowed us to accomplish those two things. Obviously, Wisconsin, our opponent this week, has been playing really good football here the last few weeks. Since Coach Leonard has taken over, there seems to be a energy about it. I know on offense, their scoring has gone up. Obviously, him being a defensive guy has always done a tremendous job calling the defense. They run a scheme that is quite different. It's a pressure package, but it's kind of the safe pressures. We call it simulated pressures, where it looks like a lot of people are coming, and then they do a great job of mixing it up. And so we've got to be really sharp up front with our calls and our quarterback, getting everybody on the same page with that. They offer a tremendous challenge. It's a great atmosphere up there at Camp Randall. Haven't been there before. And we've gotten a couple extra days ahead on our game planning with last week's 3 practices, and then coupled with the normal week schedule that we have here. It's a 4-week sprint for us, which, we always say they remember November, and we've put ourselves in pretty good position that we take care of business 1 week at a time. Obviously, with this being Wisconsin, the most important game for us, but for us, it's about the finish, and we build our program. We call it the fourth quarter program, Terp time, where it's all about finishing strong, and that's kind of what we are aiming to do here, starting here with this game up in Madison. I'm very proud, like I said before, about our team finishing 6-2, but that's not the end all for us. That's the destination. We're still about the walk, not talking about the destination, and really it's about how we're going to finish. We got tremendous opportunities. Our captains this week will be Jacob Copeland, Henry Tribuzzi, and Vandarius Cowan, leading us up to Madison. With that, I open it up to questions.
Mike, Wisconsin is one of those Big Ten schools from Central Casting, big offensive linemen who eat a ton of corn, ton of cheese. When you look at where you want your program to go, what gives you confidence being able to match up with Wisconsin in the trenches, doing those things that you highlighted way back in August, being able to run well and being able to stop teams on defense?
It starts up front, and we feel pretty good about how we've been able to develop our offensive line, our defensive line, respectively. Wisconsin has kind of set the standard in that they've had a bunch of guys come out of that program that have gone on to the next level. They've been really consistent as a program over the years, and so they're one of those teams that kind of has set the standard of what the Big Ten is about. But I also think that there's been some things done in this league where opening up the offenses, and that's one of the things that when you look at them now, I know they had changed over coordinators and they brought in an NFL guy that, like I said, the last 3 games, they look a little differently than they had, and they're scoring points. Defensively, they lead the nation, I think, in interceptions, and they do a great job of changing the picture on the back end, which is something that we've got to be prepared for.
Hey, Coach, how did you balance over the bye week wanting to give your players rest, but also wanting to work on those fundamentals and, use the extra time you guys have to prepare for Wisconsin?
We have a schedule that obviously or that I've become accustomed to how to get through a bye week, and obviously we use all of the data that we have. The goal was to try to get them time off on the front end, which after the Northwestern game, they had that Sunday, Monday off. We went back to work and introduced our Wisconsin game planning Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thudded, did some good work, but also changed our practice format to where we did a little more individual work than we did group work. And then we gave them Friday, Saturday, Sunday off and back to our normal schedule. So just a combination of a schedule that over the years we put together to give us the best chance to come out improved and rested. And it seems to have worked because I feel good about the way things looked yesterday when we had our first Monday practice with them.
Coach, was wondering if you had any update on Taulia and if the expectation remains that he will play this Saturday.
Yeah, he's playing Saturday.
I got lost.
He's playing Saturday.
Yeah, that was my question, but oh dang. All right. So I just asked you. You had a Halloween costume this for Halloween or no?
Yeah, I dressed up like Fat Albert. That's what Rakim said he wanted to see me dressed up as, right? No, I really didn't. Arrested coach. I tried to be arrested coach for Halloween.
Hey, Coach, you talked about finishing strong down the stretch. How big is the bye week, like getting everybody rested, having time to game plan for this week's matchup? Like, how big was that looking for this final stretch?
It was much needed. I mean, we were being held together by threads as we, missed, I think, 5 or 6 starters didn't play in the Northwestern game, and that time off has given us the opportunity to get some of those guys back and healthy. The game planning standpoint, with Wisconsin, they also had their bye, so there was no added data for us to evaluate, so we were able to kind of take what they've done thus far, start formulating our game plans, and we got 2 to 3 days ahead of schedule, and then we'll go back through our normal week and clean things up, take stuff out, and add things that we think gives us a chance to win. Yep.
Coach, this is the first time you guys are playing Wisconsin since you've been here because of the way the rotation works.
Since I've been back.
With the teams in the other division, and there's a lot of talk right now about whether there's even going to be divisions when the conference expands. Do you have an opinion on that?
I mean, I've been on the record of saying I'd rather us go to no divisions. It works well in basketball as long as you're able. I know it's really important, having coached in this league at a couple different places, that there's some rivalry games and some trophy games, as they like to call, that are really important to figure out how to keep those alive, obviously for the tradition piece. But, I think it's great that you don't have divisions, take the top few teams up top and play it out.
Coach, it's obviously a unique position where you guys had a bye week and Wisconsin had a bye week. What challenges does that present in terms of game planning, especially for a team with an interim staff that maybe has a chance to implement?
Yeah, I mean, they have a chance to implement things differently, do some things differently. Maybe they didn't show on tape, but, we have had 3 games of the interim coach and what they've done. Defensively, the thing that, he's the defensive guy. He's been the defensive coordinator. So, if anything, the offensive challenge of whether the philosophy changes with Jim taking over as the head coach and the freedom that the offensive coordinator has. But, for us, because they didn't play a game, we both had the same amount of film to be able to put together and formulate game plans. So the challenge will be, if they were to do something differently, most likely would be on the offensive side. And we've got to do a great job of making adjustments if they're doing things that we didn't prepare for.
Have you seen any big changes for them, looking at the tape before they fired their coach and now with Jim leading the program?
The biggest change is I think they're averaging about 37 points a game the last 3 or something of that nature. So they seem to be scoring, which could be a byproduct of getting more turnovers, which, like I said, they lead the nation, or one of the top teams in the country with interceptions. They got a couple really good players up front, 19 and 95, that are disruptive. So, but no, on defense, they continue to do the things that they've shown on film. Offensively, like I said, maybe the fact that they're getting a few more turnovers and they're running the ball pretty good.
And then a quick separate thing. What determines which punter you choose to send in the game between Anthony and Colton?
I don't know. I mean, we've had this rotation for 4 years. Used to be left hash, right hash, but right now our punter is Colton. Anthony specializes kind of in pooch punts, and but Colton Spangler's our punter.
Hey, Coach. How would you evaluate the development of Corey Dyches from last year to up to now, the beginning of the season, and the use of tight ends? Do you think that you've sort of looked at their production as sort of changing what you're doing on offense at all?
No, we utilize our personnel. We're a personnel-driven system on offense. We've got good skill, and we try to find ways to get our playmakers the ball. Corey's one of those guys that has made plays for us, and I think his development from year one to where he is today is a byproduct of him having a really good comfort level in our system. Both he and C.J. Dupree have kind of combined to give us some advantages. You know, the tight end, running back rooms, those rooms are where you usually create your matchup issues. Obviously, everyone knows about the receivers we have and the diversity we play with, but, you know, the goal on offense is to try to get your playmakers the ball as often and as much as you can, and because we have quite a few on the offensive side of the ball, it's allowed us to be a lot more diverse.
What does it mean for the locker room to have Taulia back this week, especially building, as you said, like building momentum for this final stretch?
Yeah, I mean, you know, anybody that saw him a week or two ago, he tried everything he could to play. He practiced on Tuesday. We made the decision, you know, along our medical staff and Leah and us together made the decision to shut him down, to allow it a little more time to get healthy. But he's been around. He's been at practice, so it's not as if he's gone. But I do know, you know, to have our leader back gives us a chance against a great opponent up there on the road. It's great to have Leah getting off the bus, going to play for us.
They're back. Braylon Allen, I think, had 100 yards rushing the week before the bye. He's averaging over 6 per carry. How does he compare to some of the other guys that you have faced?
Yeah, he's a big back, big finisher, has the ability to hit the home run, really physical at the point of attack. I know for us on defense, it's going to be important we do a great job of collectively tackling, meaning get a bunch of hats to the ball. But he's, again, been one of those consistent guys. I think he has over 800 yards rushing already. So he is one of the guys on offense. You know, for us, we've got to try to take him out of the game plan and put them in a position where they have to throw the football. I mean, they are a run-first team that wants to run the ball and establish it. And so it's going to be really important for us to do a great job early of trying to put them in the disadvantaged downs, the second and longs, the third and longs, which now force them to throw it, which, you know, Graham Mertz has shown the last 3 games. He's got like 9 touchdown passes, 1 interception. He's extending plays with his feet. So that's why I said it's a challenge, but it's one that we're looking forward to.
Coach, thank you for the time.
Thanks.